Marcos was dozing off in his recliner, the soft hum of the television in the background. Clara, glowing with the life growing inside her, prepared dinner in the kitchen. For the first time in weeks, they were together, enjoying a quiet evening. Their lives were about to change with the arrival of their first child, and these peaceful moments had become precious. But then the phone rang, shattering the calm. The voice on the other end was frantic. The industrial plant was on fire, and the crew needed all available hands. Clara watched as Marcos's face grew serious. She knew this wasn't just another fire. Something about it felt different. He hesitated only for a moment, his eyes meeting hers, a silent promise that he would be back soon. He grabbed his gear and kissed her on the forehead. "I won't be long," he said, but there was an unease in his voice that she hadn't heard before. When Marcos arrived at the plant, the scene was chaotic. Flames licked at the sky, consuming the roof of the facility. His fellow firefighters fought the blaze tirelessly, but the fire wasn't normal. The smoke seemed to hang heavier, the heat more intense. What they didn't know, what no one knew, was that the building housed radioactive material. The roof collapsed in a thunderous roar, and Marcos felt a wave of heat so intense it knocked him off his feet. Hours passed before they could contain the fire, but by then, the damage had been done. Marcos felt it in his bones, a deep exhaustion that went beyond the physical. As he helped clear the debris, his vision blurred, his body trembling. His captain noticed something was wrong and immediately called for help. Clara sat by the phone for hours, her heart pounding every time it rang. When the call finally came, it wasn't the one she had been hoping for. Marcos had been exposed to something toxic, something they couldn't quite explain. He was being transferred to a specialized hospital in Russia. By the time Clara arrived, security was everywhere. The doctors tried to stop her from seeing him, warning her about the risks, but she couldn't stay away. Marcos was fading, his once strong body wasting away. She found a way past the guards, sneaking into his room late at night. The air was thick with chemicals and the lingering scent of burnt metal. Marcos looked fragile, his skin pale, his eyes sunken, but when she held his hand, he still felt like the man she loved. Against the doctor's orders, she embraced him, needing to feel his warmth one last time. They shared whispers of their unborn child, of the future they'd once dreamt of together. She had no idea that each second in that room was poisoning her and the baby she carried. A few days later, Marcos was gone. The doctors did what they could, but the radiation had ravaged his body beyond repair. Clara returned home in a fog, the emptiness of their house echoing with the memory of his laughter. She clung to the thought of their child, her only connection to the life they had planned together. But weeks later, Clara began to feel something was wrong. The doctors ran tests, confirming her worst fears. The radiation had not only taken Marcos, but it had poisoned their unborn child. The life she had fought so hard to protect was slipping away, and there was nothing she could do. Clara lost the baby months later. She sat in the empty nursery, her arms wrapped around the blanket she had once prepared for her child. It felt like the world had closed in on her, trapping her in an unending cycle of loss. She had nothing left, no husband, no child, only the haunting memories of the life she had once envisioned. The days blurred together. She rarely left the house, unable to face the world outside. She wandered from room to room, touching the things Marcos had left behind, as if they held some fragment of him. Each day she grew weaker, her will to live fading with each passing hour. One evening, Clara found herself walking along the riverbank where she and Marcos used to stroll hand in hand. The water was calm, reflecting the darkening sky. She stood at the edge, staring into the abyss, feeling its pull. For a moment she considered letting go, letting the water take her where it had taken him. She took a step forward, but then something stopped her. A soft breeze carried a whisper, faint but unmistakable. "Live for us," it said. It was Marcos's voice, gentle and warm, as if he were right there beside her. Tears streamed down her face as she realized that, even in death, he was with her. He hadn't left her, not entirely, and neither had the baby. With trembling hands, Clara stepped back from the water's edge, her heart heavy, but no longer hollow. She knew the pain would never leave, but she also knew she couldn't follow them, not yet.